Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for the second day of February 2023. Well, if you celebrate Imbolc, happy Imbolc. Um, again, spring is not really here yet, so I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of signs of life out there, but now that the snow is melting that we had, but I don't know. I generally don't think about it until maybe next month. You start to usually see something by then. But I don't know. Maybe I've got daffodils that are coming up. I didn't notice yesterday, but maybe we'll start to see them break the ground, but I don't know. Because they usually come up first before anything else around here, even before the trees start budding. So we'll see. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at today's esoteric forecast. Today, you're going to stay true to commitments you've made with the understanding that the best option available may not always be the most interesting. Although you're open to the opinions of others, be realistic in your expectation and express your needs clearly. This is a time for accuracy and precision. Not for being, nebulous or unclear about something. Sometimes I think we're afraid to really say what we want or say what we believe because we're afraid of what other people are going to say back. And so, this is not a day for that, though. You just got to forge ahead. So anyhow, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. I hope you'll click subscribe and come back and join our little tarot and rune family here. For those of you who have already done that and have been here before, it's nice to see everyone. Thank you for coming by. If you want to take a look at my website, Stepping Aside, the web address over there is imsteppingaside.com. If you forget, click on Show More below the video. Scroll down a little bit and you'll see some links, and Stepping Aside's link is right there. And you can go check out the whole esoteric forecast for the whole week. There's also a newsletter sign up on the side panel of the blog. And if you want to get that and a few other things for the week in your inbox on usually I do it on Saturdays. I don't know. I think I did it twice a couple weeks ago because I didn't think I did it. But anyway, it's what happens when I use two different computers. I don't know. So anyway, if you want to sign up for that, you can always unsubscribe. There's a place above and below at the bottom of it and at the top and bottom. And you can, if you decide you've got too much coming into your inbox, it's not going to hurt my feelings. It's fine. I just like to send that kind of stuff out because I don't know. I like to see stuff in a centralized location. I'm getting the rune here for today. But that's just me. It's one of the reasons I do it. I thought, well, maybe it'd be nice to do that. It might be a fun thing to do. Anyway, so that's available too, and you can sign up there on the side panel of the blog. Just kind of scroll down a little bit and you'll see it. There's also a link to the current newsletter, and I think I did that this week. I think I put that there. Pretty sure I did. Anyway, I'll have to go check now. Anyway, let's take a look at the rune for today. The Elder Futhark rune, that is. It's Birkenau. Birkenau is the Mother Earth rune. Basically, it's about fertility and new beginnings and bringing things to fruition. So that would be, it could be anything really. It doesn't have to be a child, a birth of a child or anything like that. It can be projects. It can be anything that you're birthing into creation, basically. There's also about protection. There's some tradition involved in it, harmony. It's basically comprised of Kenaz turned inward twice, so reverse twice, and forward once, and so a lot of source presence energy there, soul energy there. Also, you can see Laguz, you can see Rado, you can see Vunyo in it, Isa. I think that's about it. A lot of these runes are really bind runes in and of themselves because they're comprised of so many different things. And so a lot of energy goes into Birkenau, and I think that makes sense, because if you're giving birth to something, a lot of energy is required for that. Um, and bringing something, seeing something to its conclusion, is also, it takes a lot of motivation, a lot of effort. And let's see what the Geomancy rune is, the below side of the significators today. The runes are the significators for those of you who haven't been here before. They're kind of the overall tone of the reading, basically. Well, so we have Karser. Karser is one of the Geomancy runes that's considered evil, because sometimes there's an evil intent to this. This is self-imprisonment. So if someone else is trying to imprison you in some way, keep you from doing what you want to do, or preventing you from speaking, or anything that constrains you, it kind of looks like a little bird cage, doesn't it? Or a little ampule that things are kept in. And so, you can think of this as really self-imposed restriction, and or it could be restriction by other people. So if you're experiencing some of that today, where maybe you feel like you can't, express yourself, or again, it kind of takes us back to today's esoteric forecast, in a way, about having to about keeping your expectations realistic and expressing your needs clearly. Maybe you feel challenged by that, and that could be what Karser's talking about. It can also mean, on one end of the spectrum of it, it can mean that something has literally come to an end, and so sort of terminating something. So there could be something like that involved today as well. Birkenau is also about healing. So maybe we're talking about letting go of the self-imposed restrictions that keep you from moving on emotionally about something, emotionally healing. Some of that can affect you physically, and so maybe there's also some physical issues. Maybe you've got a nervous stomach about stuff like that, so that could be something like that. That it's time to let go of any self-imposed restrictions and move into some kind of a positive framework, positive frame of mind, where you can heal whatever is causing you to do that. To feel, if it is a self-imposed restriction. If it's something else, though, where you're feeling restricted by or constrained by circumstances, you're going to have to figure out a way to move forward and let go of that, and use the energy of Birkenau to start anew, essentially. If you're working on a project where you're just not getting anywhere, you have to take a realistic look about what's going on there, and why are you not moving anywhere? Is it something that you haven't seen, or is it some restrictions that are imposed upon you by the boss, or whatever? If it's at work, try to figure out a way to have a conversation where it's like, well, if we're going to move forward on this, we need to be able to do these things. Is there any way that we can do this? Something like that, maybe. So this could involve a lot of different things. Let's take a look at the, well, we got the Eight of Swords. I'm going to move the Eight of Swords. In fact, I'm just going to move this all around. Here, I first drew the World, and then the Two of Cups, and then the Eight of Swords. But I think that with Karser, I think we need to start with the Eight of Swords. Let's see, 8 and 2 is 10, so that's 1. 21 reduces to 3, so that's 4. So we have a 4 numerology for the cards overall here. So foundation and structure, and how are you... It can also have to do with maybe taking a respite, of getting away and letting your mind settle, letting everything return to its beginnings, which, could, excuse me, also indicate Birkenau here. But something foundational, that maybe you need to deal with today, maybe over the next couple of days. But let's start with the Eight of Swords. Here we see a woman standing in some wet, soppy sand. You can see the water around her. She's in a red gown. You see 8 swords piercing the ground around her. And, excuse me, You see her blindfolded, and she's also bound. Now, this card can be read of several different ways, but the way I typically read it is, again, self-imposed restriction. It's getting away from the noise that's influencing you. The swords is the air element, so it's about communication. It's about the mental aspects of things, and so, among other things, but it's also about balance. The fact that it's sort of forming some kind of a fence around her, if you will, at least partially. She's feeling constrained by perception. She's feeling like she's, maybe she's engaged in a lot of perception that's not accurate, that's not valid, that's not realistic. Maybe she's been going in a direction influenced by other people that, again, is not realistic. And so she needs to blindfold herself, turn her back to it all, bind herself, and to be able to go within and use that inner strength that's found with the 8 numerology to reassess things in a way where she's not influenced. We see this in the 2 of Swords as well, where the woman is sitting with her back against she's sitting on a bench right near the water's edge, near the ocean, and you can see the ocean behind her. At least it looks like the ocean to me, not a lake or anything. But she's sitting there with her arms crossed with a sword in each hand, right? And extending outward. And she's 2 is about decisions. It's also about balance, but it's also about, because she's blindfolded, you see, she's just as the woman is here in the 8, she's making the decision she needs to make in a dispassionate way, without influence of emotions. Since she's turned her back to the water, she's not allowing emotions, which is the water element, to influence her decisions that she needs to make. So she needs to make it in a more balanced, reasonable fashion. You could say the same thing here. Although her back is, in a sense, is to the back is against the back is to the castle, so the influence of maybe authority, maybe the influence of family, maybe the influence of something that feels like it's forcing her to do something, maybe, and she's just decided, I'm going to turn my back to that, and I'm going to let go of perceptions that no longer serve, and I'm going to, and you see that in the 9, where you wake up from the nightmare of it all, and all of the swords are put in order. They're all in this one line, right? Well, basically, you're talking about letting go of the stuff that's giving you nightmares, and so this is really the beginning of that process in a very real sense, where she's binding herself, to let go of, to not allow any more influence to come in. And then the other way to look at this, conversely, is that she's bound by her own perceptions, and she can't get away from it. And she can't see anything else. She can't see anything clearly. So think about both of these ways, where it's externally, where you're responding to something, where you're letting go of your focus on what other people want you to think and believe. That's one side of the coin. And then the other side is the self-deception that you have. And again, self-imposed restriction with Carcer, it just seems to, well, but it can also be other imposed restrictions. So again, it's kind of 2 sides of the same coin there. And it's going to take the inner strength that you have with the 8 numerology to figure out which that is. Are you doing, in other words, are you doing it to yourself, or are you just feeling overwhelmed by the pressure around you to believe a certain thing, or to adopt a certain set of perceptions that really isn't true? So then we move on to the 2. Again, 2 is about balance, is about love and reciprocity, decisions. But here we've made the decision to heal. You see the winged lion above the caduceus. So there again, the lion is going to, if you look at the strength card, which is card 8, then you're looking at also the 8 numerology of the 8 of Swords. You're seeing a synchronicity there with the idea of taming the wild within, using your inner strength to understand your higher awareness, to understand things in a different perspective, to control your own fear of things. So there's a lot of that's integrated here between, say, the major arcana card strength, the 8 of Swords, and the 2 here of cups. So also, this is also going to align well with Birkenau and the healing aspect of that and new beginnings. This can either be healing a rift between a couple. That's the most obvious one. We see the man actually stepping forward to begin that process with the woman here. So this can be about healing an issue between you, but this could also be healing the polarity within, with the masculine or projective side of self and the feminine and the receptive side of self. So again, we can look at this two ways. Are we healing the inner polarity, where maybe the things that we're experiencing right now are a result of being either too passive, too receptive and not standing up for yourself, or too aggressive maybe and standing up for yourself in a way that's off-putting to others and doesn't really get your point across. And so you could look at it that way as well. There is a line of demarcation right here. You see that right here between the home and the conversation that's happening right here. So it's almost like we have to move away from that to get a different perspective. So if this is a situation between you and someone else, then maybe you need to have the conversation away from the place that you normally get into an argument in. So, if you're inside your house, that's where that happens. Maybe go take a walk out. If you've got some property, go walk around the property. Go sit outside or what. I mean, not to where neighbors can hear, obviously, but maybe you go somewhere else and you have a place where it's a neutral ground. There's nothing else influencing, and you find a way to come back together and heal whatever's going on. Again, though, if it's the inner healing that needs to be done, so you can either let go of perceptions that no longer serve you, which you're going to hopefully do in the 9 of Swords card. And then in the 10, when you see the body on the ground and the swords piercing the ground and the night's lifting and you can tell with the yellow sky that even though you don't see the sun's returning. Well, now you've let go of it all, and now a new day can begin. So that even though it looks terrible, it's actually not. And then, of course, the 10 reduces to 1, and that's new beginnings. So you're seeing a progression here in a way where you're either turning your back to a bunch of stuff, the nonsense that you're rejecting out of hand, and you're coming to terms with that by no longer letting it influence you, and you're letting higher awareness influence you. Once you do that, you see, I mean, irrespective of which end of the spectrum you're looking at, it could still apply. Then you can come together with someone else and find some measure of healing, or you're healing the polarity within and finding that measure of healing. So again, this can apply to two ends of the spectrum here. Then we come to the world. Now, the world is an interesting card. It's about completion, synthesis, reward, success. You see the eternal garland here, and perhaps the connections are hidden by the lemniscates here, the figure eights. The figure eights are going to talk about the cyclical nature of things, the up and downness of life, basically. What goes around comes around. Here is what always comes to mind. You see the hermetic elemental glyphs here for air, fire, water, and earth. The woman in the center is wrapped somewhat in a pennant or a type of cloth, if you will. She's holding really what looks like 2 wands in her hands, so she's manifesting her success. And it just, in a sense, though, it's like you've come to some completion. So it is also going to align well with Birkenau in that maybe you've brought something to a close, or you've brought something to fruition. So again, if you let go of perceptions that don't serve, or you turn your back to perceptions that people are trying to encase you in, then you're able then to heal either something with someone else that's been a problem, or you're able to heal the inner polarity and get that and bring it into a better balance. So that you can assert yourself at the time that you should. In other words, it's like with the chariot, knowing when to take the reins and when to drop resistance and just watch and wait. Right? It's the balance between self-assertion and non self-assertion, if you will. Knowing when to do that, having that effective balance within. And then at the end of the day, see, you can have some success. You can come back full circle and know that you've accomplished something. So in a sense, there's your synthesis and reward aspect of the world, bringing the elements into balance within. Air, fire, water, and earth. Air is your intellect, water is your emotions, earth is the physical reality, and fire is the creativity. It's the spark of life. And so bringing all of those things into balance so that you can so that you can feel more balanced. See, and again, when that happens, the four numerology of the reading of the cards, it's really about how you structure your life in a way, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of I'm kind of doing this from two perspectives here, because the 8 really can be, and Carcer can really be about two different things. The perceptions that are binding you to one sort of mindset or another that isn't working for you, or being unwilling to see what's really happening around you. Once you figure that out with the 8, and either go within and let go of this other stuff and realize you need to rethink some things and reassess some things, whether they're imposed on you or you're imposing them on yourself, it really doesn't matter. The end result's going to be the same there. And at some point, though, you're going to have to, if perceptions have kept you away from loved ones or friends or what have you, then once you let go of those and you realize the error that you made in terms of your mindset, then you can then maybe go back to your family, go back to your friend or what have you, and to a family member or a friend, and try to heal whatever damage any of that might have caused, or stress or challenges that it put on the relationship. You could look at it that way. But if you don't want to look at it that way and you want to keep this purely internal, you can. And I think that it's really healing the tendency and moving past the tendency with Birkenau to hang on to stuff that's not useful, and to hang on to beliefs that are not really getting you anywhere and aren't based in reality, maybe. I mean, it could go that far. So it may not just be a matter of how you see it. It may be that you're literally have chosen a path that's built on lies. And so if it's to that extreme, then it takes something like this to be able to say, okay, I'm not listening to this stuff anymore. I'm going to think for myself, and I'm going to see what I really believe about this, because this doesn't feel good to me anymore. And so it could be something like that you're dealing with today. But again, it's irrespective of the focus of the 8 of Swords, it's really about going within and trying to see if any of this feels really, truly right to you, or if you need to rethink things a little bit. And at that point, then you can move forward in some kind of, balanced polarity within, to where you can be balanced in your exchanges with other people. This could be similar to the rune Gebo, where it's balanced energy exchange. But we do have the element of healing right here, and it takes really. I mean, this is a card of elemental water, since it's cups, but the red winged head of the lion, I mean, that's a fire element type of an experience. And so healing with intention. So there has to be some kind of intention here. You see the man stepping forward and reaching forward to the woman. He's doing that with intention. It's not just like, oops, we got together, now we can talk it over and heal. This was a planned event, where you really come together with someone else and say, I'm sorry, we need to fix this. I'm not happy about what happened. I believed certain things that I see are not true. I'm reaching forward, so it doesn't have to, you don't have to wait for a guy. This doesn't have to necessarily be a guy that's reaching forward, but in this it is. And the fact that it's masculine and feminine, there's the inner part of that, just as there's an inner part with the Eight of Swords, and that's healing the polarity within. Being able to navigate your world in a way that's balanced, and you can take care of your needs, and you can assert yourself when you need to, and you can sit back and just say nothing when you need to, because you don't always have to assert yourself, but sometimes when you do, not all of us can do that very well. We're afraid to do that. We're afraid of what's going to happen. And so the inner polarity gets off. And it's not a very productive way to structure your life, really. So in terms of doing that, and to understand the completion of it, this is simply talking about the completion of this. Doing what you need to do here so that you can do this here. You see what I'm saying? And that is the synthesis. That's the reward. That's coming full circle. That's bringing things into balance for yourself. So I really think that I'm just going to stick with the inner part of this here. If it does happen to apply to a situation you're dealing with, then it can do that. But even with that, you have to heal a little bit inside before you can really express yourself, to others. So irrespective, it just sort of all, meshes together either way you want to look at it. But again, I find it fascinating that I had Carcer, and then I pulled the Eight of Swords. That's really fascinating. And then Birkenau and the Two of Cups. So it just all seems to dovetail together there. Today, I don't really have to look for anything and to try to make it happen. It's just there. So going within, thinking about how you see things, figuring out if that's really the way you want to do that, or are you really putting some imposition on yourself that doesn't need to be there. And then offer to heal. Heal your inner sensibility. Heal your inner self. You heal that. You heal all of that, and then you can heal with other people. And come full circle, and there's your synthesis, your completion, and your reward. So, anyhow, as I said in the esoteric forecast at the very end, this is a time for accuracy and precision, not for illusion. So, that may keep you in a place of either, your ego's choosing, or the egos of somebody else, or a group of someone else's choosing. So anyway, that's it for Thursday. I know it's kind of an interesting thing to think about over the weekend till we come back again on Monday, but sometimes we've got to think about stuff like this. Where are my perceptions taking me? Where do my thoughts take me? Are they taking me in a place that's not useful? It's like if you have an issue with monkey mind like I do, monkey mind will keep you awake at night. It'll keep you thinking about stuff you can't do anything about. It'll keep you thinking about stuff that doesn't matter, that's in the past, and you have to learn to let go of it. So I do a lot of those kind of rituals where I try to get rid of the monkey mind, but it's something that do a lot of meditation to get rid of the monkey mind. But that's another thing. The monkey mind is very Carcer oriented, and it's very Eight of Swords oriented. So where your thoughts take you, is very, very important. You need to be taking them in lofty places and not getting stuck in stuff that doesn't matter anymore, or perhaps you're seeing wrong, or you have to learn to let go, and so that you can heal with Birkenau and move forward into the future. So I woke up. I don't even know what time I woke up this morning. It was probably in the 4:00 hour, and I couldn't go back to sleep because I'm thinking about everything under the sun, literally, that has probably ever happened to me in my whole life. It's like my mind is going here, there, and everywhere. It's like no, calm down. You don't need to go there. And so that's a thing though. And You got to control the monkey mind. Otherwise, it controls you. And you can't get back to sleep. So, anyway, that's enough for today, I guess. And, see if this resonates. And, and if it does, then just explore it and see. It doesn't have to just be done by Monday. It can be, done. Well, like me, for the rest of your life. So anyway, maybe this is a reading for me. Don't be bound by my monkey mind. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll talk again on Monday. And be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.